Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente, Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
Recording live from our respective lairs, bunkers, and dojos as we continue
So
the
not
isolation. Yes, that's the joke.
There is.
As we continue self-isolation, day 45, day pi. I don't know. What is even time? And we're here to discuss those internet stories most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. But tonight we have No Through Road, which we thought was a creepypasta because it was on the creepypasta.wiki, and it was suggested to us through that link by someone long time ago.
Kept up on your notes, I see.
I think it was one of my buddies. Pretty sure it was one of my buddies. But when you go to the wiki article, it actually is a link to a YouTube video series that we discovered was actually a 4-part series, not just one video.
Say we, but mainly Mikey.
Yes. Well, collective we, because he shared it with us. But yes, we're doing No Through Road. So yeah, I guess we'll just dive into this one. So you can go check out No Through Road 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the Indrancole 3 channel on YouTube. That's INDRANCOLE number 3. So the first one was posted January 15th, 2009, and is basically in December of 2015, 2008, 4 17-year-old boys from Stevenage in the UK were reported missing by their families, and then 2 days later, their bodies were found at Broomhall Farm, 10 miles away from their homes. And when they found the bodies in the car, they found also a camera, and authorities were going through the camera and have, with the consent of the families, have posted it online. And so the video we get is these guys going out on a night drive for reasons.
Old reasons.
Yep. And they come across this underpass, tunnel of a bridge or something called, and there's a sign in front of it called No Through Road, Broomhall Farm. And they go through, or no, they decide to the back out. Like they start going in, and then they're like, yeah, let's just back out. And they back up and continue on their drive. And then they proceed to keep coming to the same location over and over again. The Bennington Crossroad sign. And they do this for about 2 or 3 hours, and freaking out the whole on most of the time. Because they've been driving for 2 or 3 hours, and they have no idea why they keep coming to the same spot, why they keep going in circles. Even when there's no reasonable way they went around in circles. Eventually they do get away from the they find a different path or a different road, like a cul-de-sac, or not cul-de-sac, a roundabout. And they start heading. They find themselves back, closer to their house or to their neck of the woods. And then earlier they were doing this lights on, lights off game at night because they're stupid 17-year-old kids out in the boonies. And they decided to do it one last time at the as they're heading home. And as soon as they put the lights back on, they're back at the tunnel that they originally found. And that's where all hell kind of breaks loose, because the car isn't really working. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and then the lights go out again. And then when they come back on of their own volition, there's a masked figure in front of the tunnel coming at them, and then the camera kind of falls off like to the side as somebody gets pulled out of the car. Then somebody grabs the camera and runs. It's one of the guys. I believe Steven is the character's name. Begins running away from the car and away from the people to the tunnel, and then runs off into the into the long grass nearby. Gets into a scuffle.
Attacked by a Radica. Attacked by a Radica.
Yeah, or a Velociraptor. Gets attacked by somebody, and then proceeds to get like just smashed in the face by the camera. And that's kind of where the first video ends. And then it's like, if anybody has any further information on the whole thing, yada yada yada, the basic found footage, like releasing kind of immersion content is left at the end. And that sparked people's curiosities for about 2 years or 2 or 3 years before they before the guys released another video. Should my rundown be like all 4 videos?
Sure.
Guys?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Or did we want to like break it down like video to video?
No preference, honestly. So
okay, then we'll just do them all at once. So then we go into No Through Road 2, which was posted June 25th, 2011. And it seems to be that one of the people survived the whole thing, and they have returned with one of their friends who wasn't involved to the site where the like memorial like of flowers and stuff has been put from where they were found. And then they're kind of like in mourning, like trying to cope with like or find some kind of what's the word, not conclusion, closure of the whole situation. And then on their drive back, because it's approaching sunset, they start getting lost and they start driving, and their phones aren't working, and their 3G's not on, and their Wi-Fi is not functioning. And then it's nighttime at this point, and they show up at the same spot where the memorial is. And so then they continue driving a little bit and just getting lost, and keep popping up at the same location, the same Bennington Street Road again, over and over again. They eventually stop and go outside and check and see what's going on, like check the sign and stuff. They go back into the car, start talking, and then one of their friends from that previous video, Steven, shows up at their window. And I believe that's where this one doesn't end off there. It basically they talk to Steven. He's horribly he's got like a super dirty and bloodied.
Blood.
Yeah. Dirtied and bloodied. And they try to explain to him that it's been 3 years, even though it doesn't seem like that to him, and he's just like freaking out and like because he feels like he's still being chased by somebody. And then they decide to head out, and I believe that's where that one ends. Because the next one is a 2-minute video. It is No Through Road 3. And it was posted April 16th, 2012. So another bit of time has passed between postings. This one, these last 3 videos, by the way, were pulled from 2 tapes that they found in another set of in another car, I believe. So
yeah.
They,
like,
this is another
in the car that they the original guys died in. They found like the camcorder and stuff.
Yeah,
or not the original guys, the second guys, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a separate camera from the video footage that they found on the first one. So No Through Road 3, posted April 16, 2012, is a short video because what they could recover, and it's basically them just driving and trying to get away and trying to figure out like how to get off of this loop. And Steven's in the back, basically just like still kind of shell shocked, and then they try to turn off from they try a different direction from the sign, and that doesn't work. And then they continue going through it because they're getting frustrated. And then they come across the masked figure in the middle of the road, and they stop. Eventually, Steven tells them to just drive through them, and they try doing that. And shit, I can't remember. I just watched this video. I can't remember what happens after that.
They go to drive through him.
Yeah.
He phases out of the way.
Yeah.
And then they're like heading into a field and they crash. And then they have to get out on foot.
No, they don't. They go through the tunnel again? Like, doesn't it teleport them through the tunnel?
Oh, he's just in the middle of the road. He teleports out of the way, and then they're just at some random field, like crashing through it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And then that's where that video stops. So next one we have No Through Road 4, which is April 29, 2012. So we're getting a little bit closer between postings. And this one is kind of the big one because the guys are stranded at a road or in that field, trying to figure out what's going on. And they notice that there is a shack or a house that's lit up a little bit nearby. So they go and investigate that, and they find this kind of like weird occulty setup inside. Candles,
Or a lodge.
Yeah, a lodge or something like that. Candles, writing on the walls. All the writing on the walls seems to be like time loop is a prison, like things that like maybe they've said or something. I think it's mentioned offhandedly. And there's all these masks, all these like drama masks or like blank, like just cheap costume masks that you find. And so they check that out for a while, and then they decide to head back to their car. And then they find themselves like back at their car, and they realize that they are near that. They're on the other side of that tunnel, and they notice that they see their car from 3 years ago, like, and the masked figure. So they're on the other end. They're basically on the other side of that whole scene from the first video, and it's suddenly that 3 years back again. And so we got some like time loop stuff going on here. And the guys realize that. And so a couple of them, or James, I believe, is the one with the glasses. He has a mask that he picked up from the shed or shack or whatever. And he just nods to Steven and heads off into the brush. And then Steven realizes that he's still alive. There's still a chance for him to like try and prevent this or something. So he tries to like go in and stop himself from dying from the video. But ultimately, basically, they tie up the loop by having himself get revealed, and then himself, who's panicked in the brush, ends up killing himself. Like the other version of him. And I've almost gone cross-eyed because it's time stuff. So then David, the guy that was not a part of the original thing, but is here with the camera.
He's cameraman Dave.
Yeah, exactly. Holy shit. It is cameraman Dave. He puts on his like night vision and captures all this. And he approaches old Steven, new Steven, Steven that's still alive.
Steven version
that
1.
just killed the yes. And like freaks him out, and then he just runs off, and then then Dave turns and sees the figure again, like sees the masked figure, and that's where the footage kind of dies. So there's no other footage that they were able to scrub or get data from. So if no other footage comes to light after this, the NRT event is, I think, is what they called it. Oh no,
The NTR if it's a like short form situation.
the No Through Road event. So that's where kind of the series ends. And I think it's sorry, what was that, gamer? Yeah, and that was about 7 years ago. So we never really get that's basically the end of the series, as far as anyone's can tell. So going back to No Through Road 1 with our actual thoughts and such, I guess I will begin, since that is our tradition. So for me, like watching the series, I've watched it about 3 times now. Pretty by the numbers, glitchy effects, distortion, standard premise for a spooky vlog or found footage kind of like genre, and that's not a bad thing. As for me, it felt very fun and familiar in that like warm, spooky way. That's how I can describe like when I'm watching like spooky videos on YouTube or like found footage films. So I get kind of a warm, fuzzy feeling. Like it feels familiar. It feels like it's my jam. Kind of like spookiness. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing to explain. So for me, like it was going by the numbers. Like it feels very much like a Slender vlog, but without Slender Man. It feels much like Paranormal Activity or even the Blair Witch Project. So, and like I really like love that those like the trappings of those kind of those videos. So for me, all those like those standard like kind of tropes or trappings and effects and stuff were perfectly fine for me for this video. Being shot at night with only the aid of interior and exterior car lights as well as street lights, I think it helps amp up the creepiness as it forces you to forces the audience to focus harder on what is visible, and then pulling you in like to like look closer. And then when like they actually like throw something sudden at you with a sudden surprise or something, it's like the jump scares are a little bit more visceral. I didn't mention it in the No Through Road thing, but like they try putting the radio on and they get this spooky, like almost number stationy, like distorted music playing.
There's like screams in it and shit too.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I got chills when it was playing, a little bit. So I think it was really cool. The moment they turn the light off and on again, and the location changes, it's a pretty simple effect. But it pops up at it's really effective. I at least I felt like and they do the transitions in the other videos like are even a little bit even more seamless, as I'll get into. But the first video, it seemed like it was a very simple like, oh, like yeah, like lights off and on like trick, because like stupid kids do that sometimes when they're in their cars or when they have their first car and they're like road tripping or just like driving around back roads. So for me, that was like a really nice technique to try and like to show like the loop happening. Also a very simple one, but it's effective. The masked guy kind of instantly reminded me of a Slender Man proxy, except without the Slender Man. And I think that's just because like so many of these Slender vlogs and stuff like that use the mask, like that, just a see-through mask or something that you can buy at any dollar store or costume shop for really cheap. It's almost like all these guys are teens or 20-somethings that don't have a lot of income. And yeah, the whole like proxy thing, I think for that it works like with that because the proxies were the far more visceral aspect of the terror from Slender vlogs, because they were also the more unpredictable people fear, like the fear of
there's a mix of like the supernatural and a mix of like people's like people being crazy, just them being them.
Exactly, like hell is other people is a saying, and like for a reason, like that, like you're never sure like what, like sometimes the scariest things are just people, and this person and like this character kind of represents that to me. in a way, yeah. So also another thing, in a way, the road anomaly of like looping them like continually is almost like a Slender Man thing. So, and that's no surprise, as this I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this was inspired by the Marble Hornets series, given that it came out shortly after the Marble Hornet series, which started in June 20th, 2009. So they had a couple of months of like probably watching those videos, and probably saw Maskey. This is all like my guess. And they decided like, oh, hey, Maskey's terrifying, especially when Maskey shows up in Marble Hornets. He's just sitting on the couch as like Jay is looking through like with the camera and a flashlight in this abandoned house, and then just comes at him like creepily. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the same kind of character as No Face. I think is actually what people in the comments call the masked character in this. So yeah, that it makes kind of reminiscent of that. The ending is also reminiscent of the ending from 28 Weeks Later, which came out April 26, 2007, as I looked up. So and is also a British horror thing. Also, yeah, we should also bring up that No Through Road is in fact a UK based found footage like horror series. So yeah, I really my final like, or my last kind of like impression of the first video is I could see this being just some guys wanting to make some spooky or eerie video, drawing on inspiration from like the media that they consume, of the time of that time frame, because like we had Marble Hornets, we had like 28 Days, 28 Weeks Later, because like the camera like the camera being used to like bludgeon somebody to death was the 28 Weeks Later kind of ending. Yeah, I honestly think that like this just felt like really fun, like a really fun spooky video that somebody posted online. So Mikey, the E stands for evil, what's your thoughts on No Through Road 1?
My thoughts on the first video is that the first line that the guy says didn't give me much hope, which I have the quote here. I don't know why the fuck we are doing this.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard scapegoat for found footage stuff.
Yeah, so that luckily isn't what ruined it for me, but
that's not what ruined it. It was something else.
However,
yeah,
the random guy playing guitar less than a minute in sort of ruined my immersion because this is supposedly unedited. And then later with the weird distorted head video, just threw that whole unedited feeling out the window.
see, that's a common thing, like glitch that they toss into Slender vlogs and stuff, like other footage like basically being rewritten over kind of stuff, and being distorted to add like kind of an unsettling, like out of context like vibe.
Is the recording hardware, is it like digital, or is it recording onto like the mini VHS things?
Yeah, it's a digital camcorder, they said, but they're pulling from tape, so I'm guessing it's 8mm tape, which you do have to edit digitally.
I'm just saying that, like, if it is on a tape, it's entirely possible that they're recording over something else to make this recording.
Yeah.
So, like the head video and him playing guitar, they recorded. They took that tape to record over with this trip tape recording.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
Yeah, I still didn't like it.
That's fair. Yep.
And the other thing that I liked about this one was that they say they've been driving in a straight line, yet they keep running into the same sign.
Yeah. So like there's no like they're basically like confirming that like there's no like how are we going in circles? We've been going in a straight line. Yeah.
And then just when they're almost home, they do something stupid and then they're back at the tunnel.
Yep. So really they just have themselves to blame. they
Yep.
hadn't fucked around
They
with
could
the
have just gone
lights.
home.
Yeah. This is really just a cautionary tale of don't do that fucking blink, like turn off your lights, turn on again thing. First off, it's just a stupid idea, but they're stupid teens.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it's really just that's really the moral of this story.
And that's all I have for the first video.
All right. Gamer.
So, when the guy goes out of the vehicle, I think it was Steve, and he like sees the guy wearing a mask and freaks out, runs into the car, tells him to like bail.
Yeah.
He mentions that what he saw, but then they just immediately go back to normal conversation, and they don't even really ask questions about it.
Yeah, it's like he just
It
doesn't
kinda
want
comes
to
and goes
think
way
about
too
it
quick.
or something. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it does make you wonder what he saw. Like, did he see the? Oh no, he did. He does explain that he saw a masked guy.
I know, but he just brings it up, and no one's just like not believing him or like freaking out. It's just like he says it as a statement, and then just no one really responds to it, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, I wonder if it's maybe something that maybe they it's because they cut and like it's been like some time between like that scene and them just continuing to drive.
But yeah,
Or yeah, it's I mean at the same yeah, I'm trying to think of like how I would react if one of us was like if we were driving down back roads and we couldn't figure out where we were, so somebody went outside to see if they could get their bearings, and then came running back inside and like just told us there was a masked fella out there. I figure like we would react in that like, all right, let's get the fuck out of this area because there's some weirdo in a mask.
Mhm.
I don't know what the other rest of the reaction would be though. Like other than us, we no, you know what we would definitely start talking about it and theorizing what the hell that's all about. Does that happen like before they start talking about the Wicker Man stuff? Like, don't go into the Wicker Man town, or like they start like, oh man, don't talk about Wicker Man stuff because like we're gonna get attacked by crazy pagans out in the country.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But either way, I felt like it cut way too quickly. Because yeah, I guess it
Okay.
did like physically cut, like they stopped the recording and restarted it, but because of that, I felt like I missed something, like a little bit of conversation about what he saw,
Yeah,
more than just a brief description.
that's fair. I mean, if you only saw like a brief description, like that might just been the case. Like, I think in one of the later videos, I think the second one, they don't even see the guy that's clearly there. But yeah, I've got a note on that one. So, but
And then in regards to this video being like released to the public and everything,
Yeah.
I find it kind of weird that the parents are okay with this being released to the public, specifically the parents of Steve, which see him being brutally murdered on recording.
Yeah. It is one of those things like if it was like I know Paranormal Activity does it in that like we would like to thank the department of the police department of San Andreas or San Andreas
San Andreas.
of like Las Vegas or Los Angeles or whichever one that takes place in, as well as the families of like of the two victims involved and stuff like that, and like they treat it up to be like kind of a documentary of like the weirdness that happens with like with the footage they recovered. And like I kind of see where they're going with this one is like, well, they want to get this out. Yeah, you think they'd cut out the part where their child is brutally murdered by the camera,
Especially since like they're doing more where it says like this was released without consent. I figured
Yeah.
it would be more like the first one would be a redacted kind of story, and then the other ones release more and more information.
Yeah, I wonder if like this one was supposed to be like, again, like this is just on their channel, which the YouTube channel does other videos. like other skits and other like video stuff. So I wonder if like this was supposed to be like I feel like maybe in the description they could have like differentiated this video and the other ones as like two different parties were involved in like this one was released by the UK like department, like police department, or like a consenting party, whereas the other ones seem to be like they were somebody's looking for these video footage and trying to like solve the mystery, like that's like 3 years old or something like that.
Like you would have liked to see a secondary story within the story.
Yeah, like maybe even just like kind of like how Jay does. It's kind of like how Jay from Marble Hornets does, where like he puts like he does have like text and stuff on his like journey, and then it cuts to like halfway through the series, we're now suddenly through what's his name's Tim's eyes, or like Tim's now the one like editing the videos and stuff like that. So like kind of like show a differentiation between like who posted the No Through Road 1 versus who posted No Through Road 2. Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
because it seems like No Through Road 2, 3, and 4 are being done by somebody who isn't a part of the police department or just trying to like solve the mystery essentially. But yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then in regards to the road not turning and everything, they do drive for like several hours before they show up at the crossroad again. It's entirely possible that the road just has a very slight turn, so much that you can't notice it. But after hours of turning, it eventually comes back around.
It's just this bad. They're basically just going along like just a massive ring road.
Yes, but it's so gentle
So
that
subtle.
You can't really tell.
I don't know how that would work. Like without them realizing that they're like that's got to be a really weird, obscure road. That's also super like.
It should be massive.
Yeah.
And because they have like
and do not have any
side of them or whatever the hell it is,
and do not have any other intersections.
Yeah, just that loop. But because they have wheat on either side of them and everything, they can't really see any landmarks or nothing to get like bearings of where they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of long grass and also a lot of like embankments. They're just going around like a Stonehenge, like the Stonehenge attraction. It's just like the farthest like rural road that goes around the entire like stretch of it.
Totally.
Yeah, clearly.
That's all about all I have for the first one.
All right, fair enough. Then I guess on to No Through Road 2. So this is when I started actually timestamping things.
Oh.
So at the 2-minute 30-second mark, it's with regards to them like talking in the car, like after they've said they've paid their respects to the memorial spot, and they're talking about like Doctor Who, like an episode of Doctor Who, and time travel and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I rewatched it the second time around that I realized that like this was actually a nice little bit of foreshadowing as to what was to come.
Yeah.
Like of the whole like time loop and like meeting themselves, like meeting their past selves and stuff. Because they says, oh, it's when the Doctor and like this other person who's time traveling, like they meet each other at different intervals, like they're like their past selves and future selves. Like, wow, that's right on. It's not. It's on the nose, but like you don't realize it until the time travel loop pops up. So I thought that was a nice little touch. Another nice touch is at the 3-minute, 15-minute mark when they're they've gotten out of the car and there's like it's just their silhouettes over like the sunset and like they're kind of being very like morose and like melancholy about like the whole situation. And I just thought like the whole like setup like even moving out of the narrative and going into like filmmaking, I just thought that whole setup of that scene with like the light, like the kind of like the warm light from the sunset and like them talking about like dealing with all this shit and like the aftermath of what happened. I just thought it was a really nice setup for like their characters kind of dealing with the loss of their previous characters and stuff. It was a nice like touch of filmmaking. Then at the 5-minute 20-second mark, there's a few things here. I wasn't expecting them to loop back at the memorial site. I was expecting them to end up at the Bennington sign or at the tunnel itself. Like they just came to the tunnel itself. But
It's the same intersection.
Yeah, but yeah, the memorial site was actually just as like it was a lot more effective for this video because like that's where we started. Now we're back there again. So it's like shit, the anomaly's like here too, kind of thing. Like even though it's like
It's the same place, isn't it?
I'm not. Yeah, I guess it is because it is in
Just the one direction's broken off the sign after 3 years.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
There's still a road that goes that way, but there's only one sign pointing the other way.
yeah, that's fair. All right, and then the other thing here was here's my comment is like if they don't have someone appear in the back seat of the car while they're recording themselves talking in the front seat of the car, I'm going to be a little disappointed. And then my update was, okay, the guy passing by the back of the car was acceptable. But that whole, I was like, oh man, like if something doesn't happen there, like I'm going to be very disappointed. Like they keep doing it. Like they keep like showing themselves like, and then showing the back where that's empty. And then the transition for the loop is a lot smoother in this one. And I mean, again, they had 3 years of presumably maybe like filmmaking experience and stuff like that, or film editing and stuff to out of video or out of narrative to figure out how to do it better and more interestingly. There's still some distortion points that cover up the transition, of course, but the transition is a lot more seamless. Like it's not just like, oh, let's turn the lights off and turn it back on. Oops, we're in the same location. No, it's like I was trying to like figure out like or trying to see like where the transition, like where they cut the video, and I had a hard time.
Yeah, the anomalies on the recording are there for narrative purposes as much as they are for like actual technical purposes.
Yeah, of course.
Because it does say like when they recovered it, like it was kind of messed up a little bit, but
yeah. Well, I mean that's basically how visual audio distortions evolved out of like the Marble Hornets and like into like other Slender vlogs and stuff. Is like for Marble Hornets, the creators have stated that like they originally didn't intend for like Slenderman to have abilities to like fuck up distortions. They needed a way to cover up the fact that they were sending the Slenderman guy audible directions. So they're like, because he can't see through the mask. So
oh yeah, that's true.
So yeah, they're like move left or move right 5 feet kind of thing. And so like the way they covered that up with the audio by just like having it cut out. And then with the visual distortion, they just like they did that to to kind of amp up the kind of like the weirdness of it. So yeah, that's and then that evolved into like everybody like who made a Slender vlog or a spooky vlog, they would take inspiration from Marble Hornets because it was the one that did it first, and they've developed it and evolved it since then. And like there's actually been some conjecture in the Slender vlog communities back when it was really active of like using distortion versus not using distortion, because some people used it way too much, some people didn't use it enough. Some people preferred it when it was used a lot more. Yeah. So, but the distortion here, like, yeah, it's definitely well used, I believe, for that transition.
It doesn't like take over the recording. You can still see everything that's happening.
Yeah, and like it even like the way they use it, it makes their driving almost seamless. Like. And I think it's because like they use the footage, they time the footage like when they switch like between like driving away from that spot to when they're driving to it. Like it's just so like I don't. Did you guys notice like where the transition actually is?
Never actually stopped to look for it.
Yeah,
so I was just kind of watching it at face value and enjoying it. So
yeah, no, I did that for the first two, and then on the third one I was like, all right, I'm gonna see where this transition is. And there's a scene where like they leave the sign. And they go across, they go around that bend, and they're at the sign again, and then they leave again, and the road is different. So like they didn't loop again. I was like, holy, like it's like I think it's right at that like where that opposite bend happens, like right before that comes into view is when they changed it. But I think it's like they chose a really good location where they could just like, because of the lighting from the car and the nighttime thing, they were able to like basically blend it without it coming off as like a cheap transition. So
yeah, and I'll bring it up again. Just like the long grass everywhere makes everything look the same.
Yeah, exactly. Especially
So
when
it's
you're moving.
easy to
yeah. Like his they could easily hide like the motion blur of transition with that with all the long grass and vegetation that's on the side of the road. And then my last one for No Through Road 2 at the 7-minute mark. That scared the shit out of me when this is in regards to like when they're like talking outside. What?
What scared you?
Okay, I'm getting to it. So the scene is it's at 7-minute mark, and they're talking in front of their car, and then they decide like to get the hell out of there. And the one guy like leaves, like starts walking toward the car, but the next guy stays. And the guy, the masked man, No Face, is just in the long grass behind him.
Was he?
Yeah,
I never saw that.
And well, apparently neither did the cameraman, because like he stays on it a little too long and conveniently to like really hone it in to me, but doesn't react at all. Like he didn't see it, even though it's like almost it's not clear as day, but it's like he's in the shadows. Like there's a white face in the brush behind where this friend just left. So I guess he might have been like following his friend and didn't notice it, but the camera is just smoothly like placed on there for like a few 2 seconds longer than I thought it should be. But regardless, when it does happen, I was like, "Gah!" Like,
it's still
yeah. It was a nice subtle jump scare because there's no like weird distortion, no loud noises, just he was behind him the whole time, watching him from the long grass. And that's the end of my thoughts for No Through Road 2. So, Mikey, what do you got?
All right. So my thoughts here is that the second video was much better with the immersion because of the hard to find breakpoints you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed the Doctor Who talk to sort of explain what was going on, and just saying it's a time loop and stuff like that if you didn't figure it out in the first one. And I enjoyed the sudden return of the character that was beaten up in the first video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, continue.
Yeah, just because it was a good what's going on moment. Like, so.
Yeah, like the recapping is like, you've been gone like 3 years. It's like, what? but I just ran away from a murder.
Yeah, it's a show like,
and it makes you wonder
huge the time dilation situation is.
Yeah, like what the fuck is this? This like just this weird like time loop anomaly. Yeah.
And then my only complaint for this video was a horrible joke.
Oh no.
And I have the quote here. I was going to tell you a joke about pencil, but it's been told so many times it's a bit pointless.
Oh fuck! I didn't realize that was the joke. I was like, I thought he was gonna tell him a joke, and then he like, I didn't get it.
Good one.
You had to explain that to me. See, gamer, I can be dumb too.
Honestly, I missed it too. So it's
fine.
And God damn it.
And that's all I have for video 2.
Okay, going back to video 1 for a second. What was the joke of like, I wanted to be a baker, but I didn't have the dough?
You didn't have the money.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We should have left that one.
No. People have to know.
People should know the truth.
People know how dumb I am. See, really. At least when it comes to jokes.
Yeah, apparently. But it's fine.
Yeah. And was that it, Mikey? Yeah. Or yeah, are you done, Mikey, or do we?
Yeah, I'm done with video too.
Okay. Yeah, gamer.
So this guy.
It's
unfucking believable. But no. So the quote unquote main character of the second one, James or whatever his name is, I think.
Yeah.
James. Yes.
Who was in the? I rewatching a third time. I actually did see a guy with glasses in the back of the first. I
was gonna say, like, I didn't see him in the first one.
He is hidden in. He's one of the shadowed figures in the back of the car. Like, because they're yeah.
That's the unfortunate part. Like, there's 4 of them, but you really only see the driver and the camera guy. So sure, he was there, I guess, because I could see.
Yeah.
It's a shame there wasn't at least one scene with each person, because throughout the entire first video, I never saw who was in the back.
Yeah, rewatch again. Yeah, rewatching the second time, I finally figured out who, like, at least 3 of the 4 people, like, what their names were, because we have James, which is the guy with the glasses, Steve, the guy who is trapped in the time loop and survives, and doesn't survive, and then there's a guy who's taking a piss named Molly.
Okay.
And then we have cameraman Dave, or cameraman David. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that he's not in the original story. He wasn't in the original video. He was. It seems like he was simply a friend of James, who was helped with like going out and like coping with this stuff. So yeah, we don't.
That's
there's a
why
third.
When he saw him, he's like, "What are you doing here, David?"
Yeah, exactly. So there's a fourth person a fourth victim that we have no name for.
Nair Ederman.
Yeah, his name was Nair.
Oh, no, wait. What was that stupid name I came up with the other a few recordings ago? When a character needs a name for purposes, but he doesn't have one.
I mean, we could just. Oh, I can't use Spooky Steve because we have a Steven.
Yeah. What was his fucking name? This is important.
I know you wrote it down.
Oh, I know I did. I still remember what recording it was, so I'm just going to go through my notes real quick. This is important. Larry Henderson.
Ah, Larry.
That's the random name I spouted during Silent Spring.
Right. Larry Henderson. Okay.
So we never see Larry, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Perfectly fine. He was the reddest of the red shirts.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So then, anyways, moving on to like the day-night transitions of video 2.
Yep.
So it's daytime when they're putting the flowers down, sunset when the GPS is fucking up, and then daytime in a field, and then nighttime at the crossroads when they're actually starting the loop. So has no one been sleeping? It's night 2 of being lost.
Wait, is it? Like, yeah. I thought it was. It was
day night.
I thought it was like just that, like, it was a really slow transit, unless they don't realize that, like, the time loop is actually like it stuttered a little bit. So like suddenly it's like they didn't realize that they were suddenly like the time has changed a little bit, because I mean I kind of just expected, like, when they get to the based on when they leave to the memorial, when they're at the very beginning of the video, it's early sunset, because like the sun is low in the sky kind of thing, and then on their drive it's starting to get lower, and then they get out of the car after they're lost, and they're like, it's sunsetting still. So I did think that was the longest sunset ever. But that could also just be tied into like the weird time anomaly that's going on.
And because of the popping up into daytime does happen right after the GPS buffering issue, it's entirely possible that this is just because of the time dilation. Like, it skipped to a part like when they were driving to the memorial, then it skipped back ahead to them being lost.
Oh yeah.
So
it could be that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because again, that's actually one of and I know, like, Mikey, you didn't really like it from the first video, like the random like distortion add-ins and stuff. Those are also implemented a lot in as a type of distortion that's in Slender vlogs, as a way of like kind of just like jarring you a little bit. It is like supposed to like because I've seen other like Slender vlogs that rather than use static or like weird like noises and like the like clipping and cutting of audio, they'll just have like random like while they're dealing with something horrific, they'll suddenly just cut to like a second or two of like them normal life, like chilling out in the like back home, like recording themselves to kind of as the distortion to kind of like jar the moment even further.
If it doesn't make sense technically,
it's
then
supernatural.
Mikey will like it.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta remember, if it's on a freaking like VHS style tape, then it's
not
entirely
VHS,
possible to
it's
record it.
8mm, so it's like the smaller.
Well, regardless,
tape
it's on a tape.
Yeah.
It's not on.
Yeah.
It's not purely digital.
Yeah, I understand, and I'm willing to give it a pass. And I know some people are not going to give it a pass.
Of course.
I'm trying to be civil with this one.
Yeah, that's about it for 2. So good to go for 3.
Okay. So on to No.
I guess the only other thing I could say is like at the scene where they're facing the back, the camera's facing the back, and they're just talking. I knew someone was going to walk past the the back of the car. It was telegraphed quite a bit.
It was. Yeah, and I was actually kind of hoping it would. I was hoping it'd be a little bit more like creepy, like if he was just behind them in the back of the car, the masked guy, and them just not acknowledging it.
Shots of that angle, because if it's just the one time that it's there, so of course it's going to happen. But if it happened 5 times, and the previous 3 times it hasn't happened, then your defenses would be lowered.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons that what I liked about the first video, whereas like where they kept going to the Bennington Road, like 2 or 3 times, and then they finally found a roundabout that led them home, and then they got warped back to the beginning. Like I thought that was like again like you keep doing something like a certain amount of times, and then you do something different, and then that's when you hit the person with something like with the creepiness. Yeah. So on to No Through Road 3 then.
Yep.
All right. So this is at the 2-minute and 8-second mark when they come across the guy at the road and just stop. And my comment was like right there is like, run him down.
I thought they were going to throw it in reverse.
Yeah, yeah, or that too. But it'd be like, just take him out, just gun him down. But I mean, they do try to do that, and he just teleports them into a field. So, it's fine. Also, there is a logo / like sigil that pops up at the end of the video, like for a split second.
Yep.
And it's like my only real comment to it is like, oh man, that's cool. They made their own like operator symbol, like so they're adding in something like some kind of a culty thing into this. And again, like that gets expanded after this 2-minute video into the longer 7-10 minute video that the No Through Road 4 goes into with the weird shack and stuff like that. But it just like it helped add like an air of like mystery and like kind of supernaturalness to it, or occultism to it for me. That's really the only notes I had for that video. It was pretty short and like kind of was just finishing off like the last video. So, Mikey.
Yeah, my only note for 3 is that it sort of drives home them being stuck in the time loop again.
Yep. And Gamer.
Oh yeah, I guess it's immediately me then, isn't it? Sorry, I'm doing notes as well.
Wait, you're taking notes now?
Things that I'm remembering and be like, oh right, that's a thing.
I gotcha.
I like paste something into my notes that's fucking up. It doesn't matter. So yeah, so video 3, is that where we are?
Yes.
Yep.
So you guys didn't bring up that a call comes through.
Oh right, yeah. There's a call that he gets.
Answers it and it's just like noise. But
And he just
why
I don't know,
wouldn't you try to send an outgoing call now? Since a call just came in, so it's assuming that he has signal right now.
Yeah, they could have done a video like a moment where he tries to oh, that's weird. Wait, my phone's still working, so he tries to punch it in and it just doesn't work. It cuts out right last minute, right before he can send it or something, or he tries sending it doesn't go anywhere.
Personally, if you're lost and you have no signal and you know that, as soon as a call comes through, I'd be slamming the brakes on, be like, okay, this area has signal for some reason.
Yeah, stop.
Don't drive anymore.
Yeah.
Which all I have for that one.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, I guess on to No Through Road 4. So this was posted so it was April 16th, and then it was the last one, and then this one was April 29th. So they were able to recover some extra data from the tapes. And so this is when they're walking into that house shack place. And as soon as they walked in and they see all this stuff, and my first impression, my immediate first impression is you guys just done fucked up. You guys are in some shit. Even more so because of just how occulty it looked.
Yeah, totally.
Also a surprisingly eerie moment of just surveying the contents of the shack, and that weird sharp noise that kicks in when they go over the doll and the mask. I was it actually jolted me a little bit. So it was just a really nice I was expecting a little bit more to happen. They were really ramping up the eeriness while they were looking through this.
I thought he was going to show up and they had to hide and stuff.
Yeah. I almost and then later in right before David I think leaves, he hears a sound or something like that and goes to investigate, but we don't really see anything, but he's really focusing on a dark corner. I almost thought he was going to we were gonna get I almost think there should have been some scene where he sees somebody and later on we figure out that it's actually David, future David. He's just hiding out in behind he somehow survives. Maybe the next one, if they ever did a next one a No Through Road 5, it's David running from from No Face and hiding in there, and then the time loop kicks in again.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And yeah, the time when we get the realization that they're actually in a time loop, which is about the 4:55-minute mark. I wonder, since the original video was posted 3 years before they did these videos, if the time loop scenario was devised as an afterthought to the first one. The first one was just a spooky video that they wanted to make, and they didn't really have much of a explanation or a backdrop for it other than just these are some really creepy scenes when you put them out of context. Let's just record this. Hey, this did really well. We should do some more video. I want to do some more videos like these. We should figure out I almost wonder if 2, 3, and 4 are they spent those 3 years trying to figure out how what would be next for to continue that video series.
Yeah, they probably did the first episode, and they did it as a one-off, and that was just going to be it. But as you say, it was popular, so they were probably sitting down writing the script and figuring out how they want to do the ending and how to wrap it up and how to make it connected.
Yeah, do we want to do this as a time loop? Maybe that because how else are we're going to deal with the fact that some people all the characters died at the first one. But yeah, I feel because and I think it was fairly plausible that one of them survived, because I reread the initial video thing, and it's 4 friends or 4 17-year-olds went missing, and then their car was found and the bodies were discovered. They never say how many bodies were found. So
you would assume all of them, because
you would, but it's it says, it does say that, but I wonder if maybe they might have gone on the fact, well, we never actually say how many bodies die or were left in the car, so maybe somebody survived, kind of thing. But it also could be alternate timeline kind of stuff, weird.
Yeah, it's a fucked up time loop situation. So in the time loop where the cops found it, all the bodies were dead wherever around the car, in the car, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But there's some parallel time situation where they're not.
Yeah.
Time travel, man, it's weird.
Yeah. that's why it makes most people's head hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, that's, and I wonder, like, maybe it wasn't even that it was popular, just that they felt like going back to it. But like popularity, I mean, like how hang on, let's just do a quick thing and see how big that first one was. That was No Through Road. Well, they did a lot of stuff between No Through Road 1 and 2. No Through Road 1
3 years, right?
11 years ago was when No Through Road 1 came out, and it currently has 1.1 million views. So then we go to No Through Road 2, and 8 years ago, and 224,000 views. And then the other ones, they seem to like kind of like have descending order from that.
That's how it is with everything on the internet.
But yeah, so yeah, they it was probably like because I remember hearing about No Through Road like a couple of years ago, like before we got it was suggested to us. So at least the first video, like I didn't even realize there was like 3 other videos after that. Thanks, Mikey.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so yeah, it could have been because of popularity. It could have just been because they felt like going back to a horror thing. So
for sure,
yeah.
I'm gonna bring it up now just because we kind of talked about it.
Yeah, go for it.
I've seen like people online talking about how like, oh, the first episode is the only one that gets views, and then everything gets worse. I don't think it's just because like people only caring about watching the first one. It's because let's say you're watching a playthrough that's like 30 episodes long of some game. If you're loading the playlist, you load the first episode first, and you're going through that, and then if you have to stop and go to work or something, you stop. Like, so you only got so far. So like the first ones are always watched, but the last ones aren't necessarily because people have to get there.
Yeah,
that's literally all it is.
Yeah, it's an exponential or not diminishing. It's like something in between exponential and diminishing returns, because it's like, yeah, you're always gonna like the first one's always gonna be watched first, and then in continuing order, like, more like the older it is, the more views it's gonna get because the first one's gonna get because it's the one that everyone goes to first. So, like,
it's weird though when you think about it, because the first one has over 1 million views, so that's not necessarily 1 million people that watched it, but all those people that watched that, why didn't they like continue on and do the other ones as well? It's like a lot more people just watched the first one.
Well, no, the way I think is like the first one had like 3 years to accumulate a lot of like viral attention.
Yeah.
And then the other ones have 128 views on the one is not an insubstantial amount.
Of course.
But yeah, like it's just, I think the really the reason why like 1 million versus 128 128,000 is that like that 3-year gap between the 2 videos, because like again, like I only really knew about the first one, and that's the one that everyone goes to because it's the one that has the most like out of context kind of, or like is the most like kind of like weird and like what the hell's what is this kind of thing. Like it's been posted, I know it's been brought up on like a ton of like those top 10 creepy YouTube video things or podcasts, and like Chills has done it and stuff, or has commented on it and stuff too. And again, there's always that with the first one, it's kind of treated almost like it's done ARG style, where it's treated as reality, as an augmented reality thing. So it's like people are thinking it's a real footage, not a video that somebody made. That if you looked on their website, you'd see that they've made a lot more stuff since then and before it. So yeah, it's just, I think it's honestly just that time gap for like why this one has like so many, like why that first one has so much more than the other ones. Like it just the other ones have to catch up. And
I suppose.
Yeah. But is that that's the end of my my actual thoughts for the final one.
All right. So my thoughts on the fourth one is that I enjoyed the closing of the loop and the guy, the past version of Steve killing future Steve was a nice touch.
Yeah. Well, it helps explain. Like they seem to like they must have like gone over their previous video to try and get the actions and stuff right, like to show like how the switch happened, or like how they like. I do like that, like we get like kind of the other side of the like, or we get like kind of another viewpoint of that conflict. So we actually see like, oh shit, like he saw himself under the mask and then started attacking himself.
Hmm.
But yeah.
And that's the only note I have for the fourth video.
Okay.
Cute.
Gamer.
So inside the masked guy's house, what's his name? No Face, apparently.
No Face. Yeah, that's what people are in the comments were calling.
My whole point with like the whole house situation is like there's so many random weapons around. Why didn't they all grab a couple?
Yeah, there was a pitchfork. there was
like just everything. Like there was maybe, but yeah, there was 100% of pitchfork. There was like saws and just anything is better than your bare hands. You know?
Yeah. Or a rock, or the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just weird they didn't grab anything. Well, they grabbed a mask.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's it.
Yeah, they grabbed masks. Also, so the one guy like just goes off, like nods to like James just nods to Steve, and like goes off into the woods with mask. Are we to assume that No Face is actually just future James? Like, where did James go? Like, I guess James was the masked figure that like was behind the guy, like when they were was behind past James when I got jump scared from the long grass.
Honestly, I looked back at that scene. I couldn't find him.
Oh, hang on. I'll bring it up. That was the second video, I believe.
The ending one where Steve is like sitting in the field crying.
Hang on. No, found it. Yeah, here it is. It's on No Through Road 2 at the 7-minute mark.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
I was looking at the very end. It's at 7 something.
Yeah. And then he walks off, and I think that might be James, like future James. But I'm not 100% sure, because I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder if that's just future James trying to like watch what's going on.
I don't know, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember.
You remember? South Park reference. Ding.
I don't even have to make them anymore. They just happen.
They just generate it.
I've sowed the seeds. They will grow on their own.
Gamer is just a mimetic virus.
That's bad timing.
I said mimetic virus, not an actual, not biological virus.
Still.
We need to date the podcast, Gamer.
You dated it at the intro.
Yeah, I know. But is
okay,
that yeah.
My only other note is it's neat to see that they're in some messed up time related thing and being able to see the first video's attack happen from a different angle and all that. That was neat. That's the only other thing I had written down.
Yeah. No, this one was like the time travel angle. I feel like they did the best job they could in like tying it all up with the time loop. Kind of like, this could have been a lot worse. We've seen full feature films that use time travel and like screw it up. And I think that's a merit to like the fact that this is a short film, basically. Like it's done so it's so they don't have a whole lot of time to they don't give us a lot of time to like fully register like the repercussions and stuff of the time loop, that I think the time travel aspect of this doesn't get muddied and screwed up. But going into final thoughts, because of for its length and the contents, it's very digestible as a little series of spooky found footage media. The channel does other short films and skits, and this is honestly worth the watch, if in my opinion. If you like Slender vlogs or spooky vlog ARG stuff, or even the found footage genre, like I do, like this felt very familial and very fun. And I really enjoyed the. I guess accumulatively, it's like maybe 30 minutes, like 30 or so minutes of between the four videos, and yeah, it doesn't take a lot of your time, and it's very engaging. So I recommend. Mikey, D stands for evil.
Well, I really didn't like the first video because it broke my immersion. But
I fix your immersion though. If it's recorded on tape.
Mikey hated it initially, therefore nothing will fix it. No.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah, but I don't know if the first video set the bar really low and then made the other videos that much better in comparison.
I mean, there's definitely an improved quality of the videos. Like
they get like more cinematic and stuff.
Yeah, they definitely got a little bit more. Like they knew they obviously are film students, or at least filming enthusiasts. So they've definitely I feel like they honed their craft between the first one and the second one.
Yeah.
There's definitely evidence of that.
Yeah, so my recommendation is if you can get past the first video, then definitely watch the rest.
All right. And Gamer?
Well, again, considering I've been defending it the whole time, the weird interjections with like the guitar playing and the messed up face thing, it didn't really break my immersion personally because I just assumed it was recorded on tape and they recorded over a recording. And because of the weird magical mumbo jumbo that happened with this entity, it fucked up the most recent recordings, but it didn't like completely erase the old stuff that it was recorded over.
Yeah.
So it's like, it kind of makes sense, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
That being said, watching all of them, I didn't really. All right, I'll say this actually. When I watched the first one, the characters were all pretty annoying. I'll say. Because
yeah, but to be fair, yeah, you do. Yeah, that's fair. I can see where you're coming from with that. You don't like
they're just loud and just
don't like dumb children.
Yeah,
you're an old man. It's fine.
It's true. It's very true. But yeah, so I'm
the complete opposite, which no one shock, weird. I'm the complete opposite, where I was like I enjoy the teen banter, or like the stupid kid banter, but
I don't know, it's kind of cringy for me.
That's fair.
I mean, they didn't keep it up the entire time, so
maybe it was done because maybe I didn't find it cringy because they didn't do it enough. Like they didn't overbear it.
I don't know. But either way, as Monkey said, if you can get through the first one, you can get through the rest. So I got through the first one, and the rest were better.
Yeah.
So I can't hate on too much.
That's fair.
Yeah, because the first one gives us a quote of, what was it? Stingrays love foreplay.
Oh god, was that a Steve Irwin joke?
Oh,
what was Stingrays like? What? I don't get the joke then. Continuing in my run of this episode of not getting any of the jokes.
Yeah, that one just didn't make much sense either. So you're good on that one.
Hang on. I gotta double check actually, because Steve Irwin.
He did die by a stingray, but it has no relevance to his
on his chest.
This has nothing to do with that.
2006. I know, but it's a joke. I'm just wondering if the joke was at the expense of Steve Irwin. I don't know. I'm probably just looking way too deep into it.
Yep.
Into a joke that was told 11 years ago. But yeah, okay.
So first episode was cringy. 2 and 3 were pretty good. I didn't mind the distortions. It all worked pretty well. It was like relatively competent enough with the loop that it wasn't a jarring change. Fourth episode though, it was really confusing why James and Steve just had to run off and put masks on for reasons.
Yeah, it's like they suddenly like realized something, and they didn't want to tell anybody, so they just or it's like they themselves came to the conclusion that they are part of the time loop or something like that, and so maybe I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe again, like maybe No Face is James, and so he killed everybody and then like put their bodies in the car, and then like left it at that Broomhall farm for the police to find. I don't know. It's that's the one thing about this is because we're thinking we're thinking into the wiggly wobbly time stuff. So it's we're starting to break down the plot a little bit.
Yeah, it's just weird how sudden they're just like, I need to go over here by myself for reasons.
Yeah. I almost
maybe I have to watch it a couple of more times to understand what they're like actually wanting to do.
Yeah. Which, I mean, again, given the length of these videos, that's not a problem.
For sure.
But yeah, actually, just something that occurred to me. The call he gets, he does get like a weird like message, and then he's awfully like almost like he's holding something back and like being very quiet. I was like almost like he got like some kind of like weird message, like, you have to kill everybody, James. You are No Face. Because only
or is him calling himself.
Yeah, exactly. And all the camera got was just like mumbly jumbly like sound kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Yeah, because he did seem very like suddenly like he just like standoffish or like quiet right afterward. So but yeah,
it's true. You never know.
It's to me that's part of the allure of the story of this series is the like the speculation and like what the fuck's going on kind of thing. But
yeah, I don't really mind the speculation in this one. It's not like I need to know every answer.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of liked it. So that being said, it's entirely possible that they're just stuck in the Lost Woods of Zelda, and all they had to do was go right, left, straight, left, right, and they'd be out.
Nice.
Straight being right through the sign at that one point. That would teleport them back, and then they would have to do left, right again. Then they'd be out.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, they just kept doing the right. They just kept doing like getting frustrated and going left constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It could have literally been just like a puzzle that this magical being set up. It's like, okay, well, if you figure out the combination, you can leave. If you fail enough times, I will murder you.
Yeah.
But overall, I enjoyed watching the whole thing. Ups and downs, but most things do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll recommend it.
Okay. All right. Well, that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. You can contact us on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yell is at the Gamer in Yell, but without that W because
name's too damn long.
Yeah. And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas, short creepy videos, SCPs that you'd like us to watch and discuss on the show. If you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon, look up Al Dente Rigamortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. To our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. To our listeners and the authors and creators of the content that we consume for the show, delicious. Thank you guys immensely because
what? Delicious.
Yes, delicious. thank you guys immensely because, well, without your listenership, we really wouldn't have much of a show. And without the content or the stories or videos or SCP entries, we really wouldn't have much of a show. So thank you guys. Also, if you guys like to go to Redbubble and buy a shower curtain or a clock or a standard T-shirt with our logo on it, we've got some merch up on Redbubble. So go check out Al Dente Rigamortis, look up Al Dente Rigamortis on Redbubble. And until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
This has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.